Hey, everybody. Welcome to Paranormal Among Us. Happy Saturday. Happy Mardi Gras. If you're in a city that celebrates Mardi Gras, I know here in St. Louis, it's crazy downtown. Yeah, whatever you guys do, if you guys do that, be safe out there. Certainly don't drink and drive if you know you're going to be partying too much. I know here in St. Louis, it's crazy. We used to be like the second busiest party town on Mardi Gras, but I think we've dropped a little bit. But I mean, either way, just be safe out there, everybody. Anyway, we have a great show tonight. Coming up in a few minutes, I have Bigfoot Michigan Rob coming on here. We're going to talk about his Bigfoot encounter and a few other things. We're going to have an action-packed show tonight. Also, I want to remind you guys, coming up in May, let me get this up there. There we go. May 18th into the 19th, from 11:30 on the 18th to the 19th, we will be over at Ashmore Estates in Ashmore, Illinois, put on by After Dark Paranormal and Blondes and Booze. Come on out there. Tickets are $85. That includes the speaker portion of the day. We also have a pizza dinner and an overnight ghost hunt. I'll be there along with Robin Terry and Josh Hurd, along with Blondes and Booze and After Dark Paranormal. It's going to be a fun night out there. Just come on out. You see on the bottom of the screen there, blondesandbooze at gmail.com for tickets, or you can email me at paranormalamongus72, and I can get you to where you need to be for tickets. Before we get to BMR, I wanted to share this little picture with you. I took this on Monday or Tuesday this past week. I was taking my son to school, and I saw something odd in the sky. I have no idea what it was. It doesn't look like a normal plane contrail. It almost looks to me like a rocket going up. I don't know what it is. I didn't hear a thing. No one knows what it is. No one's given me a good explanation for it, other than it looks like a rocket. So who knows? I don't know. If you guys see this and know anything about it or heard anything about it, or have any idea what it is, please leave it in the comments. Yes, it is, Brandy. It is weird. I have no idea what it is. It's baffled me, and I am dying to know what it is. So, well, I don't know. Anyway, let's bring on my guest for the evening, BMR, Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Rob, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How's it going, man?
Fantastic. Happy Mardi Gras to you guys. Do you guys do anything up where you are for Mardi Gras?
No, I didn't even know it was that time of year. Mardi Gras.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big drunk show downtown St. Louis. So
Yeah, now
I stay away
that's
from
I
all
always
that.
just associate that with New Orleans. I guess is that going on in New Orleans?
Oh
Mardi Gras?
yeah. Oh yeah. They have like 2 million people down in New Orleans, and a bunch of people here too. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So
Yeah, I don't know, but now that I know that, I'm gonna have to turn on to the Mardi Gras live on YouTube and show all the freaks in the streets. That's something new I found on YouTube. Type in
yeah.
any state and then write live, and there's
Yeah.
live feeds all over the cool parts of their town, and you can see
Really?
all a bunch of weird stuff. I discovered that. Yeah, I don't do a lot at night, as you can tell.
No. I did it. I went down there one time, enjoyed the parade, but then once that's over with, you get all the drunks running around peeing on the streets.
Yeah, well,
You know,
I don't need to see any peeing on the streets, but yeah, I'll probably tune into that a little later. I want to say
yeah.
hi to everybody in chat because I can't type because I didn't connect to your chat here. It's
Uh-oh.
asking for a new password. I wiped out my computer just the other day,
Uh-oh.
and half the passwords I forgot. So I'm in a slow process to bring that back up.
I got a I write all mine down. I'm old
Yeah.
school. I
Why?
write
Why
everything
do
down in there.
no, I do write my? I don't have no
Yeah.
password thing either. What is it? Is it?
It's a
Whatever it
password
is.
journal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I got a Mead loose leaf paper folder that I write all the passwords in. There's
Hmm.
coffee spills on it. It's all smudged up. Is that an E or an I? Or is that an A or a B? I don't know.
It's almost easier just to hit forgot password and have them reset it
Yeah.
and everything.
And nowadays you have to have a letter, a capital number, a symbol, 18 characters long. I'm like, no, I'm stopping at 8 characters. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I've starting to recycle some old ones. So
Yeah. So,
yeah, but yeah. Thanks for coming on tonight.
yeah.
I was on brunch with BMR last
Yeah.
Thursday, and we had a blast.
That was a great show.
Yeah,
Hmm.
looking forward to hearing some of your stories
Yeah.
tonight. I've heard bits and pieces of your Bigfoot encounter,
Okay.
um, but I'm looking forward to hearing the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I did make some notes while we were talking on your show.
Yes.
The other day. First off, I want you to you got your book. I want you to plug your book.
Oh, well, thanks. I don't have it handy yet, but I wrote a book. Oh,
Got it right
thanks.
there.
Very good on top of it. Awesome. Yes, I wrote that book. That book went out actually August 1st this past summer. Yeah, Bigfoot Mystery Rob presents True Cryptid Encounters. Book one.
Mhm.
That's a collection of stories that I've gotten from actual subscribers or email accounts sent to
Oh,
me.
sweet.
Yeah, and I over the years put it together. This book took me, geez, almost 2 years to do it, simply because I had no idea I was going to make a book. But I
Mhm.
got all these stories from people, and a lot of these stories I've actually done on my show. So I got with a lot of these people. I said, "Hey, you know what? I'm thinking about doing your stories in a book collection." The people that I got a hold of said, "Yeah, go for it." And I'm like, "Cool." So that's kind of a hurdle you got to do if you publish somebody's stuff, right?
Yeah.
Uh, now a lot of it, they're all true encounters from these folks, what I've told, and yeah, so it's doing pretty good so far, thus far. So I'm really pleased with that. In fact, good enough where book two is ready in the process, and they'll be coming out in the spring, summer.
Really.
So
And you can
yeah,
get them both on Amazon.
Amazon, yeah, and if and if you're a subscriber to my channel, the link is in my channel, and it's also any video I do, the links in it. So yeah, but all you have to do is type in Bigfoot Michigan Rob on the Amazon browser, and
Mhm.
it'll pull up if you don't have a link or if you're not a subscriber.
Yeah, I searched it the other day and found it easy and
Yeah. So
12.99 for the
yeah,
first book.
yeah. Well, it's
Um,
12 right now. It's 12.99, and th- by by the time book two comes out, they're going to 15.99 because the cost of printing is going up and everything else. That I just got a message from YouTube. So this
yeah,
book will be 12.99 until June for one full year. Then that's going to 15.99 too. So when I roll out book two, they'll both be 15.99. So now you can get book
sweet.
one for 12.99 until summer. So get it
It's on
now.
sale
Get it
now.
now,
Yeah, get it
everybody.
now
Buy
while
it
you
right
can.
now after the
Yeah,
show.
yeah. Did you have any? I mean, you mentioned about yeah, have to get permission from your people that emailed them to you. Did you run into any problems with
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I don't even know that you need permission because when they send me their work anyway, I think they're kind of giving you permission because
Hmm.
a lot of them don't know if I'm going to make a video out of it or not, right?
Right.
So yeah, I did not have any back. I didn't have any problems with anybody.
Okay.
Nobody. I mean, up until today, the 10th of February, knock on wood, so but yeah.
Well,
But I did my
awesome.
due
Awesome.
diligence with it, and I
Yeah.
got the receipts to all this stuff. So I mean, I'm not worried about that. I don't think.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Well, obviously you get it. It's going to be a good read. I ordered mine, so it'll be here
Oh,
soon.
cool.
So,
Thanks.
and
Yeah,
make sure you
yeah,
leave a review too.
yeah. Thank you. You got to leave a review, everybody that's bought in it, because everything's analytics these days, Paul. Just like YouTube,
Hmm.
you know, the likes, the share it out. Just like I'm buying a book. If you leave a review, if you bought it and you buy it through Amazon, your email will ask you to leave a review. So just please do it.
Yeah.
Leave whatever star you want and just jot down good book or that guy sucks or whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Just kidding.
Go
you
Lions,
know.
go Tigers.
Yeah,
Whatever.
just go Lions, man. I'm sorry, Rob, you loser.
So close, so close.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the things that you mentioned was you had a UFO encounter when you were a kid.
Yeah. Hmm.
Lately I can't get enough of watching was it Jeremy Corbell
Yeah.
and oh god, I can't think of the guy's name, George Knapp, and the
George.
guy that worked at Area 51, Bob Lazar.
Yeah.
I just can't get enough of that stuff. So
Yeah. No,
what?
it's funny. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go on.
No, I just the other day, I every time Joe Rogan does the interview with Bob Lazar and Jeremy Corbell, it's like 2.5 hours long.
Hmm.
I can't turn it off. I watch it every time it pops up on YouTube. Fascinating interview.
I'm the same way. They never bore me. It's
Mm-mm.
and again, like we said on your show, Bob Lazar's story just doesn't change. And this was when he came out. This was before internet and stuff. How would he know what S4 is in Area 51? You know.
No, I know. Yeah,
So
and you're right though. That every time you hear his story, personally, the Joe Rogan one is the best that I for me personally. But I heard him on with Nuri and Knapp, and yeah, it's the same every time.
yeah, yeah,
Joe Rogan is more entertaining, I guess, because you can watch it. I can only just listen so much before I get kind of bored, unless I'm in the car or something driving. Then that's
yeah,
one thing.
yeah.
I'm a visual. I like seeing it on TV as well. But yeah, again, fantastic story in my opinion. I believe it.
Mhm.
I believe I'm on the side of. I think what he saw, he saw.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, and when you think about it, if the government does have UFO spacecraft, why not try and reverse engineer it? And why would you announce that so that enemies can possibly do that as well? You know?
absolutely. I'm in agreement with that one for sure.
Yeah. So what was your UFO encounter?
Yeah, mine was a basic one. It was I was about 7 or 8 years old and just getting ready to get up for school. Me and my brother, my mom's in the kitchen making breakfast,
Hmm.
and then she yells, "Robbie and Davey, get up, get up!" And when you're a little kid, you know when you're supposed to get up for school. I mean, I know the
Yeah.
exact time, and I want to sleep in as much as I can. I go, "Ma, it's 15 minutes early," and she says something like, "Get your asses out of bed right now. You got to see this." So me and my brother get up out of bed. We were running down a hallway. And my mom's in the kitchen overlooking the back window, bay window, I guess they had in the kitchen. And she goes, "What do you look at? Look up in the air, look up in the air." And we're looking, and no kidding, man. There's about maybe 50 yards from the backyard, straight up, was a UFO, man. And it was a flying saucer.
Hmm.
You know how back in the day, Lost in Space, the word
Yeah.
was flying saucer back then, and that's what they used because this was in the 70s, late 70s, I think, when we saw this. And sure enough, it looked like a flying saucer. In fact, this thing looked like a disc, just like very similar to the one in that program, Lost in Space. I mean, it would, or if you took a coffee saucer literally and turned it
Saucer
upside
plate.
down,
Yeah.
a saucer plate. Yeah, just that's what it looked like. It was metallic in color, and it was just hovering there for shoot. I was standing. My mom had seen it. Took enough time to call my brother, so it was there during the time for me and my brother to get down the hallway, and I saw this thing for 10, 15 seconds. And it was just kind of hovering, and then all of a sudden, in the dark, it just so fast. It almost went invisible, but you could tell it just jettisoned off into the further away up into the sky. In a minute, it was gone. I mean, 2 seconds, it was gone. And so my mom, she's all excited. Oh, boys, we saw, UFO, whatever.
Hmm.
And so she goes to call my dad. I mean, my mom is so excited that she goes to call my dad. My dad was working at Chrysler at the time. And you got to remember, there was no cell phones. It was the standard dial up phone. And back during the factory time, you're not supposed to call your husband. The wives are not supposed to call their husbands at work unless it's an emergency,
Right.
right? Because they got the phone gets the the main shop gets the phone call, then they got to go find the guy on the floor. So it's just a mess. And so my dad gets to the phone. They finally get a hold of him just for my mom to tell him that she saw the UFO. And I guess my dad was like, "You pulled me off the floor with that. I thought there was something wrong with the kids," and kind of hung up the phone, got all ticked off. So, so my mom gets home. Not my mom. My dad got home from work,
Yeah.
that day, and me and my brother, I guess we're in our bedroom playing or doing our homework or whatever we're doing. My mom goes, "Kids, come out quick! Come out of your room really quick." So they had the news on, and my dad is just sitting there telling my mom. I can remember my dad telling my mom, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for snapping at you." And what was on the news? I guess that day of this sighting in my neighborhood or in my city, really not just the neighborhood. I guess the local news got like 300 phone calls, all the news networks, 2, 4, and 7, about that there was something was in the neighborhood, floating around, flying around in the neighborhoods as a
Wow.
possible UFO. And so it was a brief. I mean, they didn't give it like 5 minutes. It was like maybe 90-second snippet.
Yeah.
Didn't show the picture of it. Just had whatever they did, whatever the news was all about in the 70s. I don't remember. I just remember it was on Channel 7 because that was
Hmm.
the channel my parents always watched for the news was 7. And
Hmm.
yeah, so it actually made it to the broadcast that evening. The people called in a UFO
Wow.
in the neighborhood.
Now, when it was flying over your house, did it make any sound or anything? Or
No, not really. It was just kind of like going. It was just going up and down, hovering. Kind of went side to side, but really stayed kind of in one straight line. No
hmm
sound, no nothing. Now, of course, I was
wow.
inside the house, looking out the back window. We didn't
Yeah.
run outside, which maybe we should have. I
Yeah.
don't know. It was about 7 in the morning, so it was kind of light. It was really light outside.
Yeah, but if you hear a helicopter or a
Yeah,
plane flying that
yeah.
low, I mean, you would hear
You would hear that. Yeah, that's
the
true.
engines.
So
Yeah, but
no, but no. To answer your question, then no, not at all. I didn't hear anything.
huh,
Just kind of
that's
saw it.
huh. Yeah, that is uh, that's kind of crazy. I've never seen one.
Yeah,
So
I mean, and so yeah, and but it was distinct. Even a part of me, I was thinking to myself, even because back in the day, I would always, believe it or not, well, not really believe it or not. It just so happens that one of my favorite childhood programs was Lost in Space.
hmm
And as time goes on, isn't it weird? As time goes on, that was back, a long time ago. I think it was whatever grade I was in. I'm thinking to myself today, did I really see that, or was that just a dream? Because I always watched Lost in Space.
yeah,
But then when I think really hard about it, yeah, it did happen. I remember talking to my mom about it all the time. She goes, "Oh yeah, I remember, man." Maybe, and my mom even says, "Remember, it made the news." I go, "Yeah, so good, it did happen." I'm not getting old, I'm not, imagining these things, So yeah, that was the only. And I do have a picture. I actually have it on my phone. Um, about 3 objects I have in the air. I snapped these off last summer. I haven't really showed them to nobody, and I don't know what they are. I'm thinking they're not UFOs, but if I ever had an encounter, this would be the second closest thing because they look like the cigar-shaped objects and like a moon, and it was dusky dawn,
hmm
and they were above a lamp, a light, a light, a light post, a light
hmm
post on the street, but miles away though. I mean, these things were literally miles away.
yeah.
That might have been something. I'll have to share those photos with some people. But other than that, that was legitimate though. Grade A encounter way back in the late 70s.
Wow, awesome. I had talked with somebody with the MUFON director for Missouri,
Mm-hmm.
and I was asking her if there is a good time to see aliens like or UFOs, if they're dusk, dawn, whatever. And she
Mm-hmm.
said usually the best time is around dusk. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
how they
I don't
know
know.
that, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I would think I in my brain tells me dusk or dawn. So I don't know why either. But
Yeah. Crazy. Crazy.
Mhm.
Um, you told a story Thursday about your ghost in a bar.
Yeah.
This is can you share that? This is an incredible story. I love this one. I had thinking about it afterwards. I still had chills.
Yeah, it is. I tell you, next to my Bigfoot encounter, the Bigfoot encounter story was just terrible, right? When you add up all the ducks in a row with what happened throughout the story, you have not heard that full story, but it's just
Right.
crazy. I've had paranormal encounters for sure, a lot of them, way more than cryptids. I've had the one Bigfoot encounter, if it was even a Bigfoot, right? But yeah, I've had a lot of paranormal experiences, but this one here it's really cool. Yeah. And
Whoop. Sorry.
I heard me in the background doing this. So yeah, I'll tell that one for you. It For everybody that don't know, and I see some familiar faces in chat. Hi to everybody. I owned a bar, and the structure of the bar, it was there since Prohibition. Okay.
Mhm.
And bootlegging was going on out of this bar. And throughout the years, as time goes on, changed hands. It got some remodeling, some updates, obviously, but the core structure's always been intact. So I had the bar for 13 years and I sold it pre COVID in 2020. I just got lucky when I sold it. I had no idea that 3,300 people in my state alone that own bars and restaurants were going to lose their businesses. I
Mhm.
was just fortunate, not so fortunate for the guy I sold it to because he went out of business within 6 months. So I always feel bad about that one, but it is what it is, I guess, in the long run. But now he's got it up and running, so he's making some money, I guess. I hope. So anyway, the first 3 years owning the bar, I had a lot of high turnover. Only because it was a new business. I quit my job and I want to own a business. And I didn't know it was going to be a bar. I didn't know what it was going to be. It ended up being a bar simply because this property that I found, the value that this guy wanted for it was there, and it was primarily just going to be an investment.
Mhm.
And then I said, you know what? I'll clean this place up because it was a very tough bar. If you went in there, if you didn't know the people, you're probably getting beat up type of bar. So that's why I sold it for cheap. But I saw the value in the property. So I said, who cares if it's a bar? I can turn it into whatever. So sold it to me, got a new staff, cleaned it up. Again, had a lot of turnover though.
Mhm.
So I didn't make any money for 3 years running in a row. It was just kind of terrible. And I gave up a good paying job to do this, and I was broke over the course of the next 3 years. So finally, year four, we started making some money. And now for the next several years, I have the same staff, the same cook, the same wait staff, the same bartenders, waitresses, things like that. And we are always open. We were open at 10 in the morning. We closed at 2 in the morning, right? By the time everyone clears out, it's 3 in the morning.
Mhm.
And we had two bars in the upstairs part of the bar. There was a square bar, and off to the right, there was a longer bar. And so it was pretty spacious. And there's a basement in this place. Now in the basement, I store a lot of some inventory was stored down there too, along with upstairs. Though I had the coolers upstairs, but any extra inventory would be in the basement, which is basically mainly just cases of booze
Mhm.
or wine, things that don't perish, right? So, and my office was down there, and I also had the office set up with a little bedroom in case I wanted to spend the night, didn't want to drive home. I even had it open for employees that had to close at 3 in the morning. I had an open door policy where if my bartenders and waitresses were being bought drinks by the customers, I let them drink. Just don't
Mhm.
get wasted because you have to handle money, and I don't want you making a
Yeah.
fool of yourself.
Yeah.
But hey, if it makes the customer happy, that was my main objective: to make sure the customers left happy. But
Yep.
I did say, look, if you have a few drinks, I don't want you driving home. Yeah, that'll
Exactly.
make so. So the bedroom was set up for people, and I crashed there many times simply because I just want to drive home. A lot of times I would work 10 in the morning till and get done, and I'll be done at 3:34 in the morning. Just don't want to drive home, man.
Yeah.
So I would just crash and get up at 8 o'clock or something.
Mhm.
So throughout the years owning the bar, especially when I wasn't there a lot at night, I'd get there 10 in the morning. I'd be out by 6. So the rest of the people closed it up 3 o'clock. I'd be there in the morning. So throughout all this time, though, the people said at nighttime, "Hey, Rob, every time we clean this place, now, not every time, everybody, but again, periodically, when they would when they'd wipe down the tables and get ready to go do the paperwork, they'd come upstairs. They would hear voices up top. And the weird thing is, they know that they cleaned off the tables, the bar counter, but they'd find an extra beer bottle or an extra a shot glass. And back during this day too, back when I first owned it, you could smoke in the bar still.
Mhm.
That only was for about a year or two, and there would maybe be an ashtray or there'd be something on the. So there's always something was unkept, but they
Mhm.
knew that they had put everything away, and they also would hear dishes or glasses would break. Okay, things would get moved around, just really petty little things that perhaps would scare some people, or perhaps you would just blow it off as, oh, I just missed that. I mean, I can see that. Not everything's a ghost or a spirit. So yeah, these odd things they would tell me about, and I never really experienced any of that. So there was a night that, in fact, this was about a couple of months really prior to me selling the bar in 2020, and this is after too that I had a Bigfoot encounter in 2018. And this happened to me in 2020 where I it was just me in the bar, and I closed up the bar, and everybody went home. I don't know.
Mhm.
I gave somebody called in sick. I gave someone the day off, something like that. And so I make sure that everything's cleaned up. Right, the bar was wiped down, all the tables were wiped down, bottles put away. I mean, I wanted good and prepared, for the next day's
Yeah.
work, right? So now I go off. Maybe it's a little after 3 in the morning. I go down to the office in the basement and I start doing the paperwork. I'm maybe 15 or 20 minutes into it. Then I hear these voices upstairs, up in the bar. And I'm listening. I say, yeah, that's voices, I think. So I get up and I walk toward the stairs. And I start going up the stairs. Going up, I'm saying hello, hello. Still kind of hear these voices, but then when I get to the top of the staircase, the voices they fade away. I don't hear any voices. I'm still kind of a little freaked out though. So
Mhm.
I go and check the front and back door, and the doors are all locked. Then I go into the bathrooms because every once in a while, believe it or not, somebody be passed out in a stall. Things that you have to check before you close up at night is really ridiculous. Some of these things you got to do, but there's no one in there. And I'm like, okay, well, there's no one in here. I even yelled out, hello, hello, and there's no one in there. You go back down into the basement, the the basement of the bar, of course, where the office is, and doing my paperwork. And 10 minutes rolls by, and I hear these voices again. And now I'm really kind of like, what's going on here? Go up the stairs. I get to the top of the stairs. And right when you get to the top of the stairs, if you look out directly to your left, there is the square bar there. And back to the left of that is the longer bar. Okay.
Mhm.
So at the far right end of the bar at a corner, there's 4 apparitions sitting at the bar. On the far side are 2 women, and they look like flappers. I mean, they had those frilly dress on. What I can gather from the head and shoulders down, because you can't see below their waist, and yet
Mhm.
men with their backs to me wearing those gangster suits back like in the John Dillinger era. They
Mhm.
had the fedora hat on, so it looked like people from bootlegging time, that era, and they were transparent and they were see through. I knew they're apparitions, and I can hear them talking. I can't make out the words, but it's communication. And I'm standing there and I'm staring at them and I'm looking at them. And it's like I told you earlier, I mean, I already had a creepy Bigfoot encounter. I've seen ghosts and spirits ever since the age of 6. So I'm really not that scared. In fact, I'm more kind of excited, right? I'm kind of excited because I'm just watching and I'm trying to hear what they're saying. And here's the thing though, they don't recognize that I'm there. So I don't know if that I got a little bit ticked off at that. I don't know. But so I go to get a little bit closer. So I walked across to the other end of the bar. Now I'm directly at the one end, they're at the other end. The 4
Mhm,
apparitions, again, looking like gangsters, right?
mhm.
Talking. And I notice at the far end of the bar, at the corner of the bar, in front of the 2 men, there's 2 shot glasses and there's a bottle of Jack Daniels. In front of the 2 ladies, there's 2 like wine glasses, and a bottle of wine. There's
And these are
whiskey.
actual shot glasses that
Yes.
you can touch, a living person can touch, right?
Living person could touch hard glass. The women wine was hard. It was bottle. In fact, as you'll find out later in the story, this is actually inventory. The bottle of Jack Daniels was real. Everything was real. And in fact, in one of the glasses, the glass closest to me, the glass closest to me was filled with whiskey.
Mhm.
But I'm thinking in my head, well, they didn't pull those off the shelf. And they didn't help these ghosts. I'm thinking did not help themselves to this. I had to have left them out. But then I know in my heart of hearts, they weren't there.
Mhm.
You know, you try to make up things in your mind, I guess. So
And you as the owner, you went through and made sure everything was cleaned and put away, everything. So
yeah, in
yeah.
fact, I was the only one left. I
Yeah.
sent everyone home, and I just did it. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I know. So yeah, so let's stare a little longer at these ghosts. That's what they were, you know. And now I try to draw their attention because they're still not paying attention to me. And I swear, I've been. This is a good 4 or 5. This is a good 4 or 5 minutes. I'm just in awe of what's going on.
Mhm.
So I'm at the other end of the bar, and I pick up my hand, I clench it into a fist, and I pound my fist at the other end of the bar to get their attention. I want some reaction out of these ghosts. Hell, I'm thinking they might just fade away. Well, they didn't fade away. They all looked down at me.
Wow.
The women kind of looked at me. They had their heads kind of down and looked up. And what was even freakier though was the 2 dudes were parallel to me on the side of the bar I was at, so they both had to turn their heads and look down at me.
Wow.
And I'm like, "Whoa, is this what I bargained for?" You know, I wanted their attention. I don't know that I want them checking me out now. You know,
Never mind,
so
just carry on
yeah,
with
okay.
your
Hey,
stories.
I'm just go back. I think I'm gonna go back into the basement to the office. Carry on, carry on.
Yeah.
Hey, the drinks are on me. The drinks are on me.
You know, if they would drink that, it would give new meaning to alcohol goes right through you. Sorry.
Yeah, well, yes. Well, spirits for sure. I know now I know why they say spirits to alcohol, right? So anyway,
Yeah.
so so anyway, though, I tell you what, seeing the ghost is pretty cool, amazing. Still trying to process this, but the thing that really freaked me out is the one shot glass, the animate object, the physical glass
Mhm.
raises up off the bar top a good 12, 16 inches max, and it's suspended in the air around these fingers of this apparition, which is like transparent. You can see right through the hand to the back wall, the body to the back wall. I'm like, how in the hell is this thing suspended in air from a ghost? Not a physical being. It's
Yeah.
floating there, filled with whiskey. Then all of a sudden, the shot glass drops from that suspended state, hits the top of the bar. Now here's the thing, and it busts into a million pieces. I mean, it's shattered. If anybody knows anything about good bar glassware,
Mhm.
they don't. If you drop it on the floor, they don't break. You gotta literally take it and smash it down with your force and throw it at the bottom to bust it up like that. Not on a wood countertop, by the way, and
Right.
not from that short of a distance, right? And I'm like, damn, these 3 ghosts are now looking at me. and I'm looking, and they slowly start to fade away, but they morphed from the young state that they were in. They kind of morphed away and got faded, faded, and faded. But their skin, their face started turning like to old people and into like a skeleton, and kind of wisped off away. You can see it kind of wander off through the walls and was gone.
Wow.
So I go, what did I just see? That was so cool, but I'm still pinching myself. Am I
Yeah.
awake? But I go down. I'm definitely awake because I go down to the other end of the bar, and sure enough, man, it was a busted. I mean, the whiskey bottle was out. There was whiskey in the shot glass. I put my hands in the whiskey, smelt it was whiskey. The glass was
Mhm.
certainly glass, and the whiskey bottle was open. It was a brand new bottle taken from the stock from the back of the bar area because you know how on a whiskey bottle on the new fifths there's mostly that papered from the
Mhm.
cap, and it's kind of that thing
Mhm.
was ripped, and I know it was brand new from inventory because that was the next one in line to go to be served because
Yeah.
I had another one with a little bit left, right? So, and there was remnants of wine in the wine glasses, so I clean up everything, and I end up telling the people next morning about my story. They said, "Rob, we told you this place was haunted." Now, because now you, Rob, we never really seen ghosts, but we've heard all sorts of creepy stuff in here at night, and it just so happens that I happen to see something.
And those new bottles of alcohol, they're not easy to open.
No, hell no. You need
No,
a
no.
grip. I mean, I was an
And
apparition. Well, a ghost could probably just make it happen. I guess, right?
yeah,
You got to lift it up and pour it.
yeah,
What type of energy is that? Actually, we could go off another. If we broke this down, that'd be a good story to break down. Just physics
yeah,
of
that
this
would
thing.
be.
How did it elevate? How did it get suspended in air? How did the bottle get taken off? How did it get lifted? So that's something that I never really thought about those things, just the story
Yeah.
itself. But how did all that happen is
And then, like
another
you said,
mystery.
with the shot glass shattering into so many
Yeah,
pieces, I mean, dropping a normal shot glass like that, it wouldn't, shatter
no,
really in
it
the
could probably it would
millions of
break.
pieces.
It
It'll
could
break,
break.
yeah,
Yeah,
but it would have to have some kind of force really to shatter
I
it like that.
I
Holy
tell you,
cow!
I will tell you this in my bar when I've walked from around, I've dropped several shot glasses. Some of them didn't even get a chip in them, and a
Mhm.
couple have broke. Or a beer glass or even a beer bottle. I'll tell you what, 8 out of 10 times the beer bottle didn't even break.
Yeah.
I mean, really. I mean, glasses, they make the glass pretty sturdy these days, you know, at least
Wow.
compared to some of the things that are cheapened. I don't think they cheapen glass.
Yeah,
How could you cheapen glass? Make it thinner, I guess.
I guess.
I don't know. I don't know.
And you said your employees have heard things before too, not necessarily saw
They
anything,
would
but they've
always
heard
tell
things?
me they always heard there would always be broken plates because we did have glass where we served,
Yeah.
we'd have when we had like steak dinners and stuff like that, we would serve it on good plates. We try to be somewhat classy sometimes. We weren't serving paper plates, so you got
Yeah.
silverware, and they would break or some glasses would break. But they said the most common thing though was always open beer bottles, empty or full on tabletops all the time,
Hmm,
like all the time.
interesting.
And I never really told this about the story. So, and this would happen, and if you did a physical inventory on stuff, yeah, they were taken out of there, and because if you count, I used to have them all count all the bottles we had pre and per shift and match it up against sales, and every once in a while there would be off 3 or 4 bottles that are unaccounted for, so
Really?
who knows? Yeah, I mean that could be nothing, could be an employee taking one. I don't know, but
Yeah.
you don't know.
Yeah. After this happened, did you ever do any research as to what was in this building before or what
Well,
was
that's how
around the
I kind.
land?
Well, here's the thing about that is that's how I know. I always start the story out by telling people prohibition area. I didn't know that until after this encounter.
Uh-huh.
I looked stuff up. I knew the only thing I knew is that bar was there for many years. and but I didn't investigate the origins of it. But I certainly did after my encounter, and the reason why I did is just because of what these ghosts look like, prohibition style,
Yeah.
gangster style.
Yeah.
Then I just started, my brain started clicking. I'm wondering if was this bar during the prohibition. I wonder how far back does this bar go, you know? And
Yeah.
then I did find out that it was standing during the days of, El Capone, you know.
Wow.
So, and like again, so a lot of the foundation, the main structure is still intact there,
Hmm.
and so that's probably, in my estimation, one of the reasons, is that has something, maybe it still has that energy
Yeah.
because it's been remodeled several times, and the cosmetics of it's changed throughout the years, but
Hmm.
not the actual structure, right? So
Did you didn't never found out if there was any murders or anybody dying in there or anything or?
I did not come across anything. Now I will say I did not really look that specific, but specifically.
Yeah.
However, nothing that I came across. And half the time, once you type in something, you're going to get a whole bunch of stuff
Yeah.
that usually would come up, especially. But there was no murder, nothing, just bootlegging during the bootlegging area, and I did find that it was used in bootlegging, a speakeasy, so it was
Hmm.
used, as an illegal house of ill repute, I guess. I don't know what the proper word is, but
Yeah.
I'm sure those flappers weren't actual flappers. Mm.
Very, very interesting. I mean,
Oh, really cool story though.
yeah.
Well,
Uh,
cool
Go ahead.
encounter, really. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's one that I certainly will never forget.
Yeah. As you were telling that, I kept picturing the haunted mansion at Disney World, the part where you're going through the thing and you see the big dining room table or whatever, and ghosts going around there. I don't know why I just picked that.
Yeah, I never had the opportunity. I never been there, Disneyland. Of course, I don't have kids. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe that is that a kid destination or anybody can go.
Anyway, I mean anybody can go, but
Oh,
I
okay.
mean it's it's too
When I
crowded, too
think
many
this,
kids to me.
when
Yeah,
I hear Disney, I still keep thinking Snow White, and it's like, yeah, must be for kids. But I know it's much more than that. So,
yeah,
from what I understand,
yeah. With ghosts, did you always believe in spirits and
oh
ghosts
yeah,
wandering around, or
I seen ghosts when I was 6 years old. I
oh,
had,
ghost and UFO?
yeah, no, same time, about the same year, really. The ghost and UFO. My
Mhm,
ghost that I seen is gonna sound a little silly to some people, but the first ghost I saw was in my bedroom on my back wall, and it was nothing more than, I refer to it as the Scooby Doo ghost. Because here's what it looked like. It looked like a white sheet stuck over a man's head with big shoulders and black eyes. And I would wake up and see this thing prancing on my back wall. So as a kid, I didn't know maybe if I was dreaming or not dreaming, right? Because again, it sounds like a cartoonish type of ghost. However, I seen it all the time. I woke up one night and got my brother up, and I was looking at this thing and asked my brother, "Do you see what I'm seeing?" And of course, I scared him. He was my younger brother. He goes, "No, I don't see nothing. What am I supposed to see? Something?" I'm pointing at the wall, and I see this thing. Paul. It's just that a ghost is kind of jumping around, right? The very first time this happened, I got up all scared, crying, jumped in my mom and dad's bedroom. You gotta come
mhm,
see this. Then, of course, they tried to tell me I'm seeing things. I was dreaming, not a ghost, which is the first reaction parents do, right? You see a monster, the
right.
parents said you're dreaming or it's your
It's not real.
imagination.
Your
Yeah,
imagination.
whether they believe that what they're telling you or not, they're
Mhm,
trying to do you a favor, which I get it, but it's not all. Sometimes they should looking back at it, tell you the truth. But
yeah,
when I tell people it looked like it didn't look like no creepy ghost. It looked like a ghost with a white sheet and black eyes. So I kind of thought for a while that it just was a dream. but I don't think it was because this ghost seemed to follow me wherever I went. That was seven
Hmm.
or 8 years old. Then I grew out of that. Then about 26, the ghost reappeared again when I was married. I was laying in bed with my wife, and on the back wall, I wake up, and here's this you know what, Paul? Sure as shit. Here's that same ghost is dancing in the back of the wall, and this is like 20 years later.
Different house too.
Different house. I go wake up the wife. I'm waking the wife sitting next to me. I wake her up, shake her. What? You know what's going on? Look at the far wall. She looks, and I'm up, and I see this. I'm seeing this. I'm seeing it, and she's up. She's looking. I go, can't you see that? I said, Dan, you remind me of my brother. That's what I said. Because all of a sudden, and this is 20 years later, and my brother didn't see it. Now my wife didn't see it either. And so I've had that experience. But then she and I saw a shadow person, which we
Hmm.
had investigated. That was creepy. Then so I saw the ghost at the marital house. Then I saw the shadow person at the marital house. And then she said, "Yeah, that ghost thing you saw that I didn't see, you probably it probably was a ghost too." Because then we went back to my childhood and I told her about that
Hmm.
and so on and so forth. And as it goes on with me, I've seen the ghosts, I've seen the Bigfoot, the ghosts at the bar, the creepiness that happened at the bar, and I'm one of those guys. I suffers from sleep paralysis. It
Hmm.
comes and goes. I'll go through bouts with that for a while, and then kick it and not have it. But I've had some lifelike dreams within the past, 2 years. You know,
Really?
oh yeah, very lifelike. Almost one guy says I was doing astral projecting or the stages of it, and I pulled myself back home.
Really?
Which, when he told me that, kind of creeped me out a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. So,
Ooh,
so
that is creepy.
I've had some tough nights with that stuff. Let me tell you, it keeps me up. Not
Yeah.
lately, maybe a week or so ago. I did a show. I couldn't sleep. This is maybe 2 weeks ago. I did a late night show because I couldn't sleep.
Hmm.
So I just went live, and about 40 people showed up, and I BS with the chat room and told them what was happening.
Nice.
But yeah, I was, hey, thankful for YouTube. But yeah, they were my friends for the evening and helped me go to sleep. I never did go to sleep that night. I made breakfast and stayed up. Then I crashed about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Hey, well, nowadays you always have a friend with you, I guess, with YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. You kind of do now. Anytime you just turn it on, and there's always someone up in the world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, okay, your Bigfoot story. I I've
So
been thinking about this one all day.
you've never
I,
heard the Bigfoot story?
I've heard bits and pieces of it. I've heard about you being in the boat.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it
Okay.
was your girlfriend falling off or something.
Yeah. She felt. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I'll do it. Again, and don't get me wrong. I love telling the story because, especially for people never heard it.
Uh-huh.
And about a year or two ago, on one of my shows, I said, "Well, this will be the last time, everybody, that I'm going to tell my encounter story on my channel or anywhere else if I get invited on someone's show." So but I got to tell you something. The people in chat were like, "No, Rob, you always tell the story. I love the story. People are learning. You're
Hmm.
helping people." Then all these comments I got. Don't ever stop telling it. You're supposed to. That's your job. That's your duty. Because and
That's
I
what you were
get
meant
it.
to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I get it because if the Bigfoot encounter did not happen to me, I
Hmm.
wouldn't be on YouTube.
Right.
I That's what set me off down the path to start a channel, write the book and stuff.
You would
Because for
be
me,
UFO Michigan Rob.
yeah, well, maybe, or I might just be sport. I might be just Detroit Lion Rob, and just talk lions. You know, because that's the first I did want to go on YouTube as a sports guy.
Uh-huh.
But then when all these things happen, and then looking back at the creepy things that I've experienced, I had enough material right there to start a show like I got now. But
Yeah.
the thing that made me start was the Bigfoot encounter, you know, and and one of the main focuses behind the channel is just to help people because I tell you, there's a point in my life for about 6 months, man, where I was lost, alone, had nowhere to turn, thought I was going crazy, and then I finally, through the luck of God, I guess it was, he brought me a couple people that really helped me get my get back on track because I was going some deep areas with this stuff,
Hmm.
which is kind of scary, But no longer there. I'm good today, but man. So yeah, so people that suffer from these encounters that they're not very good. Yeah, that's why I do the stories. That's why I do it because I was there, brother and sister. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's not pleasant. Bigfoot is not the friendly forest giant, and people are going to give me slack for that. I don't care what you say.
Right.
Bigfoot is something you shouldn't trust.
Right. And I think there are some good Bigfoots, some bad ones, just like there's good and bad human beings.
I say,
Um,
I couldn't have said it any better because I always say that. But here's the thing: this is something we know nothing about, so how can you trust it to begin with? I don't care if it's smiling. You hear stories. Bigfoot saved my daughter. Did he really? I mean, I don't know.
yeah.
It's I would You can't trust something you don't know anything about. Hell, we
Right.
know things about bears. Are you gonna go up to a bear? I've heard bears. You've all heard her story about, no, maybe not a bear as much as the wolf. The wolf, raised an infant. Now it's wolf boy. I mean,
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, I believe a couple of those stories, but that's a one in a million because that wolf should have ate that kid up. Same with
Hmm.
a bear. You don't walk past the bear's den when he's waking up from hibernation. First thing he wants to do is eat.
Yeah. Oh, you look cuddly. Let me hug you.
Yeah, yeah. Let me give you a big bear hug as he, bites
Yeah.
off your head.
Yeah. No, I'll pass on that.
Yeah. So anyway, we're getting a little off, but yeah, the story. Yeah. So anyway,
So actually, before you start the story,
yeah.
before this encounter, did you believe in Bigfoots?
Oh yeah, I did. Actually, that's a strange thing. When this encounter happened, it didn't confirm. I believed him. Today I know Bigfoot exists. And I was a believer back then. And there's
Hmm.
when I was a kid growing up, I loved monsters, right? My dad brought me and my brother up. Again, I saw the UFO, I saw a ghost. So hell, I guess I'm meant to be a monster dude. But I like the Boris Karloff, the Frankenstein, the Wolfman, Dracula. My dad brought us up on scary movies, and I saw the Leonard Nimoy In Search Of with Bigfoot.
Hmm.
I said, "Oh man, here we go. That is so cool." So yeah, I wanted to believe it exists. So back in the day of Leonard Nimoy's show, there wasn't a lot of things you could find, and usually back then we just had the library. Tell you what, there ain't too many library books back when that show came out about Bigfoot, and the
Right.
ones you found were, whatever. So, but for sure, I always believe in ghosts, paranormal, UFOs, aliens, and and I thought Bigfoot had a good shot at existing. At least I thought it was a hell of a story. Then I saw the Patterson Gimlin film. So wow, that's for real. That is for real. There's just no way.
Hmm.
So, but I didn't have any plans of anything Bigfoot that came on TV. I would watch, but I had no plans again doing a podcast. It was something that I was interested in, and
Right.
I wasn't going to run off and look for it in the forest. I mean, until what happened to me, June 15th of 2018, you know,
Wow.
and that's when it all started for me. So yeah, I was going to surprise my girlfriend, Cindy, take her fishing in Cadillac, Michigan. Cadillac, Michigan is in the Manistee National Forest. Okay. It's in Wexford County.
Mhm.
In the Manistee National Forest, I'm guessing, I don't have the facts, it's probably the biggest national forest in Michigan. It travels from the west side of the state all the way to the east. So if you're going north to the Upper Peninsula, you're going to travel through it. You're going to hit it in the state. It's that big. And also in Wexford County, which is where Cadillac is also a very big county with a lot of reported dogman encounters. In fact, it's supposed to be the dogman capital of our state, and some other Bigfoot encounters as well.
Mhm.
So Wexford, Cadillac, it's an area that it's seen some things. Now, my encounter took place on Lake Mitchell, which is a part of Lake Cadillac. In fact, it's connected to Lake Cadillac by a canal. So you got Lake Cadillac and then a canal that leads into Lake Mitchell. And Lake Mitchell backs up to the actual forest. The whole background of Mitchell is just nothing but the forest with a couple sporadic houses throughout.
Mhm.
So yeah, I tell Cindy, yeah, I got this planned out. We're going to do some fishing. I rented a small little skiff type boat and we do some fishing. And yes, there's things for you to do, Cindy. There's a lot of cool shops, stuff like that, restaurants, bars, galleries, whatever. So it's a cool town. I mean, you want to take your girlfriend there, vice versa, your wife, whatever, good place to go hang out. I recommend it. It's a cool place. A lot of things to do. She's like, okay, fine. So we get up there. I get the boat already. It's a little like a skiff type boat. I mean, it wasn't no bass boat. It was just something I picked up to rent on the cheap side. Couldn't find any regular boats,
Right.
so we use that, which is plenty. But you're a little bit intimidated because Lake Cadillac is big. It's big, but it's surrounded by the forest, as I said, but a lot of houses, a lot of small little industries, a lot of mom and pop shops. So we start our day and we get out. It's probably and it's like for fishing, everyone says, Rob, you went fishing. You started fishing at 10 in the morning. Yeah, I was with the girlfriend. I mean, I wanted to be out by 6 in the morning, but that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
So we got on the water at 10. So we're going about doing our business, fishing, and we're also checking out the houses and stuff like that. And we're not getting any bites. We're not getting any nibbles. No fish, nothing. And I could tell right away. Cindy, who never fished before, says, "Really, you call this fun?" I go, "At least you can check out the scenery. I mean, that's cool." She goes, "Yeah, that's cool, but this fishing's for the birds type of thing." So,
Mhm.
yeah, it's small talk. So I said, "Just let's continue on." So she was right though. It was kind of boring, no nibble. So I said, "Hey, let's do some exploring." So we come across this canal. This is my first time on this lake. I just randomly picked it out to go to, right? So cruising on the lake and we come across this canal. Then we get through this canal and it leads to Lake Mitchell. Lake Mitchell is another big lake. It's not as built up as Lake Cadillac. Beautiful scenery, national forest in the background. So I'm like, I got that vibe. I'm like, Cindy, we're gonna get some fish in here. This is really cool. There's hardly nobody on the lake either. It was
Mhm.
just me and her. It seemed like just getting close by this time, getting close to 12. The sun was out bright. It was a beautiful blue sky. It was just an awesome backdrop. So we're going down the coast, the far coastline of Lake Mitchell. It looks back into the forest. We're about 90 feet from shore, and I start, drifting the boat. And I'm telling Cindy, okay, just kind of, guide the boat or whatever. We're going to stay parallel with the shoreline. I'm going to put the tackle together. So she ignored me. She's standing up looking into the shoreline. I'm like, well, whatever. Who cares? So start putting the gear together, right? And Cindy says to me, Rob, someone's throwing rocks at the boat. I go, what? What are you talking about? She goes, yeah, someone's throwing rocks. So I looked to the shoreline and I said, there's no one there. I don't see nobody. She goes, yeah, I could have swore, man, I seen some rocks flying towards us. I'm like, just okay, relax. I don't see nobody. Let me get back and finish this. So I go back to finishing putting the tackle together. 10 seconds, 12 seconds later, and she's more emphatic, a little more pissed. Rob, someone's throwing rocks at the boat. And I am now like irritated with her. And I look and I go and I said, nobody is there. Let me get this done. Where are they going to stand? The water, you see the wood line drops right into the water. And so now I said, well, this is, going good. Let me hurry up and get this rod and reel together and I can watch the shoreline with her. So
Mhm.
for whatever the reason, man, I look up, I just look up and I see this object falling from the sky. Again, bright blue sky, orange sun. You know, you can see the green of the forest and everything. I mean, just all the colors are popping. And here comes a rock, which don't know what it is at first. And I realize it is a rock. It drops maybe 3.5, 4 feet in front of the boat. Boom. I look to the right. I look at Cindy, and she's standing up looking at the shoreline. And I got to tell you guys, it's already June 15th, and she already had a ripping suntan going. She was like, had a really good, she's like a sun goddess, right? Head to toe, she is a tan person, but that entire tan is now like white. That faded. Her skin was faded, it seemed. And I'm like looking at her side profile, and what the hell is she looking at? So I look toward the shoreline, and they're standing there. Is this at least heavy 9 foot tall creature, 4 foot wide, standing with its arms on its side. It's covered in really beautiful reddish brown hair. I never said beautiful 4 years ago, 5 years ago when this happened, but now the color of this coat was just a brilliant red and brown, very long, just and the odd thing about this is it looked like a human being. The face. Again, I'm 90 feet away. I can see this thing very distinctly. And our boat's really not moving. I'm just kind of got right there looking at this thing. And the face, Paul, looked like a human being, but it distorted or deformed, almost like it had Down syndrome, or perhaps, as some people suggest, a stroke. One side was a little offset. The eyes were offset. It had wrinkled, pasty, old grayish flesh, you know, and it looked like an odd human, creepy human for sure. And I'm looking at this thing. Then all of a sudden, its arms, as I said, are on the side of this being, creature, humanoid, whatever you want to call it. Then he raises it parallel arms. He raises them out parallel, kind of like an airplane, right? Looking, parallel to the water. Pulls his head back a little bit, and now, like I described, that that gray face, that weird face, everything pulls back tight. His skin pulls back very tight and taut. His eyes roll back black. Drops his jaw. Now he drops his jaw a good 6 inches, detaches from his face, connected to his mouth or his cheek line or whatever, but it drops, exposing 4 teeth, 2 up top and 2 on the bottom. 2 up top were kind of like they're canine, and the 2 on the bottom were like in scissors. They're real thin and close together. So four teeth that I seen, and I gotta tell you, this thing metamorphosized. It looked like a demon. That mouth was so big, Paul, that you could drop a bowling ball in it, or maybe a softball at least.
Wow.
Huge.
How close were you to this?
90 feet.
Okay.
And I kept the boat steady. I wasn't drifting past this thing. It was there. And here's the thing: when all this happens, when he drops the jaw, exposes the teeth, metamorphoses into that creepy, demonic-looking creature, all of a sudden, from the depths of its body, of its being, of its lungs, out from the mouth and gaping mouth, without moving the lips, it was open. This sonic blast of sound comes out. It's like a gruntal, a guttural scream, yell, roar, kind of like combine all of it, even like a girl, a woman's scream, but combine like all 3 of those sounds into one, projected at you with such force that I could feel it hit my body. If I tried to explain it to people, about the force, it felt like, I didn't see this, of course, but if you ever see point of impact, like out in the ocean or maybe on land, that they show these bomb videos when the bomb hits, you see that ring of waves, shock waves coming out.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see that, but that's what it felt like I got hit with. And I stumbled a little bit backward. Well, Cindy, 5'1", 109, 110 pounds, got hit with it, and she flipped off into the water.
Wow.
fell clean off the boat, and this thing's roaring at us, looking like some sort of monster, demon, like I say. So I now try to move to my right to get Cindy back in the boat with this thing roaring, man. But here's the thing: all of a sudden, there's a reason why I tell you about the beautiful blue sky, the orange of the sun, the green, the reddish brown coat of this creature.
Mhm.
Now, when I get hit with this, I'm looking through a filter now. Like the colors are faded, almost black and white. They're very dull. It feels like I'm in slow motion or time is slowed down incredibly because I cannot even move to my right. I'm paralyzed. And it's not paralyzed with fear, it's paralyzed because I physically can't move my limbs. So I'm shaking in my head. I got to get her in the boat, and I'm worried about what's going to happen next with this thing on the shoreline.
Mm.
So I'm just kind of trying to shake my head. I can. And then all of a sudden, I broke free of whatever hold I was under. Color came back. The normal distorted vision came back. Now I'm back to normal. Finally, I get here in the boat. Then I'm really scared now. For what as scary as this whole story is, for whatever reason, my most scary part of the story is this: when I look to the shoreline, the thing's gone. I get scared. Like, is it swimming? Is it out under the boat? I mean,
Yeah.
all these random thoughts are running through my head. What the f is this thing? I said, well, Cindy, sit down, man. I'm getting the hell out of here. So I sped, turned the boat around, whatever, headed right back the direction I came from, opened that throttle up and sped across, Lake Mitchell. I got sped through that canal onto Lake Cadillac and all the way back to where I launched the boat. So
Mhm.
we finally, I get the boat docked, find some beach towel, wrap around Cindy, whatever, and she's freezing. More from I think it's just
Yes.
shaken from the event, right?
Yeah.
And because again, it's like now it's after 12:30 now, and it's like probably 80 degrees. So I'm looking for a place to go, and we find this little bar restaurant about a half block up the road. So we get in there. It's kind of cool. I think it had been the middle of the week because there's hardly nobody in this place. Off to the right, there might have been a couple and another guy at the bar, but to the left, there was a booth in a far corner, nobody around. So I said, so let's go. We beeline to the back corner booth, and the barmaid comes up to us, and we both settle in. Barmaid comes up to us, and what y'all having? Cindy, not a drinker. She don't
Mhm.
drink. I'll have a shot of Jack Daniels and a bottle of Bud Light. It's funny how Jack Daniels came up, just like the ghost
I
story,
was just thinking that.
Yeah, but that's what it was. Just that's what it was at the bar too. But anyway, Jack Daniels, I don't know. So anyway, and then I said, yeah, I'll have the same, but make mine a double. So me and Cindy don't say nothing to each other yet. We're waiting on the drinks. She don't want to say. I can still. It's your mind. Both our minds are processing. What did we just experience? Finally, the girl with the drinks comes back, gives Cindy her drinks. I get mine. Cindy takes that shot, Paul, and throws it back like a champ, like she's forever been drinking. I said, "What are you telling you? There's something I should know about you. You've been keeping a secret." I'm thinking. I do the same. She takes that Bud Light bottle. Boom. She almost guns half of that to wash it down. I'm like, wow.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm like, you're my hero. So so I try to match her, but I was double fisted. So, but anyway, so now finally she goes, honey, what do you think that was? I said, honey, what do you think that was? I still didn't want to give her an answer. She goes, well, I think that maybe it was that Bigfoot creature. I said, yeah, I think maybe it was. And then she says, now you got to remember too, Cindy and I never ever talked about Bigfoot in our relationship. You know, we watched some spooky stories together, but we never came across or discussed Bigfoot. So really, when she said Bigfoot, it kind of took me by surprise as well a little bit. But anyway, she goes, "Yeah, should we call the authorities, the DNR, sheriff?" I go, no. First of all, who's going to believe what we just saw? By the way, right? So I'm not going to mess with that. It's too ridiculous to tell somebody, despite the fact that it happened. So she's like, yeah. She goes, I guess you're right. So it kind of ended that, that weekend because we were no, we didn't want to stick around. We left. We left. We got
Mhm.
home and we immersed ourselves in the study of Bigfoot. We got online, got on YouTube. I didn't even know YouTube had channels like this. That's how much I was not into YouTube. I used YouTube to pretty much play music was all.
Yeah.
I never watched it for anything else. I didn't know what it is today. I just didn't, and I never used it. And so I was watching videos, going online mostly, and yeah, and I never came across anything to satisfy me. I wasn't getting any answers. No pictures of what I've seen for sure. Not of the Bigfoot creature anyway. There's some demonic looking entities kind of matched up.
Yeah.
Cindy, the same thing. So 2 months later, August 15th of 2018, I get a call from Cindy's mom telling me Cindy passed away.
Oh.
She was dead, man. Heart attack or something. I said, a heart attack? There ain't no way. She was only in her 40s. I mean, and again, like I told you,
Mm.
she didn't drink, smoke. She was in good health.
Yeah.
So that's another long story. That's a mystery because, first of all, she lived with her mom and her dad's already was gone. And her mom hated me from the beginning because I was the devil because I owned a bar type of thing. So she, I wasn't allowed at the funeral. They wouldn't let me in.
Yeah.
I can't get no report on how she even died because I wasn't married to her. I'm not a brother, not a
Yeah.
blood relative. So that's always been a mystery.
Yeah.
And that's got a void in my heart a little bit, not knowing exactly what happened to her. Because I to this day don't really buy that heart attack thing. So, um, that's the sad part of the story, really. But
Yeah.
that's what set me on this path for doing this type of stuff, right? Doing the channel. Met a lot of great people. Then so finally, I get that news, and I do have to tell you this too, Paul, really quickly. When I had that experience, and after she passed away, I went to my bar manager and I says, "I'm not coming back to work for a while. I don't know how long. Here are the
Yeah.
keys, man. Just take the money, deposit it. Don't rip me off. I trust you. I've been working with you now for 6 years. I got to trust you."
Mhm.
He goes, "Yeah, what's the problem?" I said, "Look, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. I will tell you one day, but I got some personal matters so I got to take care of." I didn't
Yeah.
go back for 6 months, and I got to tell you something. I was getting some really heavy, deep, dark places, man. First of all,
Yeah.
I couldn't find anybody to help me. I didn't know the people that I know today. I didn't know in
In 18.
2018.
Yeah.
So it's so hard to find people you could trust. And it was also more hard to tell the story because it's a story that's unbelievable.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, get lost, dude. So I did find, well, yeah, they said, well, you got to go into these Bigfoot communities and start kind of talking about it because
Yeah.
there are people there that will probably believe you. And so then I did, and I found some people, and then I started going into chat rooms and feeling better about myself that I wasn't going crazy, and talked to some people that really got me on the right near the right on the
Path.
right perspective, the right path. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I met Tex, and me and Tex became buddies, and he did a show, Texas Front Porch. I said, dude, I want to do
Mhm.
a podcast. So I joined up with him. And then, yeah, I've been doing it, my podcast for 2 years now. And of course, Tex has been doing his for like
Yeah.
6 or 7. So, yeah, that's how it kind of started the evolution of the channel and the book. And and how I even got here was that having that
Yeah,
encounter.
that's awesome. And by the way, you're to those who don't know, and I'm sure everybody on here knows, but in case people rewatching this or whatever, it's Beyond BMR on Tuesday nights,
Yeah,
right?
Tuesday nights at 9.
I can never
Yeah.
keep all everybody's.
Oh man, well
Um,
we yeah,
yeah,
we do all of our shows, you know. We have we all become a good tight group of friends and we
yeah,
do our shows. Yeah, Tuesday nights at 9 in the East is Beyond BMR. Then brunch
and
with
then
Bigfoot
Thursday
Rob is
on
1
Thursdays,
o'clock in East on Thursday. And of course
right?
the channel is simply called Bigfoot Michigan Rob.
Yes, make sure you go over there and subscribe to that if
Yeah.
you haven't.
And hello
Um,
to everybody in chat that I know and don't know. I can't type because I screwed something up. But hi everybody. Thanks for coming on in.
yeah. Um, one quick question. Actually, I have a couple questions, and
Yeah.
Freaky Geek had this on here. And I was kind of thinking this when you were talking about this. When you're standing next, like at a concert, standing doesn't even have to be next to a speaker. You'll feel the music.
You know what? That's
Is
freaky.
that?
Freaky's always comes up with great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that you know what? That's a great analogy or a great way to describe it. Big woofers hitting you, the vibration. Yeah, I could say that's the best way I can describe that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I felt a vibrato. I just felt that intensity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was good, Freaky.
And then I've heard a few Bigfoot stories, and one thing that is common with all of them, and it's stuff being thrown. Is that common? I'm not um
Yeah.
I'm not big in the Bigfoot's knowledge and stuff. Is that common for Bigfoots to do?
Well, I will tell you this that it's not uncommon to hear that all the time in stories. However, and usually, though, if you're thinking about it, it's normally okay. This Bigfoot was tossing rocks at our boat, but you notice he didn't pick us off or hit us.
Hmm.
Typically, it's a non-threatening nature. It's always you never hear about a person getting drilled with a rock, but it's falling within feet of them. You know.
Right.
But then again, as I stated earlier, I'm not going to trust these things. Now, of course, you had Ape Canyon; they were throwing rocks and boulders at the house. So yeah, it's not uncommon to hear that. Typically, it's not in a threatening nature from most of the ones that I've come across,
Hmm.
except for like the Ape Canyon rings a bell. And even mine, Paul, the thing that I can't figure out about mine is it threw rocks at the boat. It could have hit both of us in the noggin. So why
Yeah.
did it all of a sudden turn into some? First of all, was it a Bigfoot? Like I tell people, it looked like a human being that was just had deformities. It had Down syndrome. It had a stroke. Whatever. It looked like a nasty old human being.
Hmm.
Creepy, creepy man. It's very scary, man. If he was looking through my window at night, I'd have shot him
Yeah.
without the metamorphosis.
Yeah.
And but the metamorphosis turned into a demon. So I even have a hard time saying this was even a Bigfoot. I'm guessing it was because I did some research on like baboons. They can do that same metamorphosis with their face too, where they, first of all, they still look kind of creepy to begin with, but when they pulled back their skin taut and that
Hmm.
jaw drops on them and they expose those teeth, they look like something different as well. I'm thinking this was something along that line. Um, you know, and so yeah. But again, I hear about the rock throwing a lot.
Yeah.
It looks like our
And
buddy Rye down here has a theory. I'll have to talk to you about that, Rye.
yeah, right. I'm interested. If type it up. I want to get that on here. If unless it's too much to type,
Yeah.
we'll have them on sometime. Um, very interesting. And was there? Well, obviously there was other reports of it. Has anybody ever seen it there?
I've talked to one guy that believes something is there. In fact, I very back early on in 2018 when this happened, right after I pulled myself out of darkness, for God's sakes, and re-showed myself to the world and went back to work. Um, I did do a video. It's no longer on YouTube, but and I didn't even know what I was doing. I had to make a channel.
Hmm.
I had to make a handle, I guess. And so so I said, what the hell am I going to do? How do I do this? What am I going to name this thing? This is kind of a story. This is a story how I got my Bigfoot Mission Rob. So okay, I'm going to do this Bigfoot encounter that happened to me. Something. What am I going to be? Rob 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got to come up with something now. So I said, well, I saw a Bigfoot. My name's Rob. I live in Michigan. Therefore, Bigfoot Michigan Rob was like created, right? That's
Hmm.
how I came up with the name for the show because that's my handle. So, so that's how that happened. And I did a video on it back in 2018 or 19. I had like 2,000 views on it. And one of the very first people that reached out to me was a guy that lives in Cadillac, Michigan, and
Really?
told me that he knows about strange cryptids. He goes, first of all, Rob, you got to know they come from the Manistee National Forest, which covers our whole state,
Yeah.
and it's full of Bigfoot and Dogman. So yeah, and he says he's heard he's heard the howls at night, screams and roars at night, like I described in my video. And he's investigated that area. In fact, the guy knows so much about the area, he knew exactly where I was. Because I did a video where I showed on the map where I was, and he pinpointed it and he investigated that same area I was in, but from the road coming in and not the water.
Yeah.
And he says, "Yeah, you can't even get past there because it's all marshy and swampy, to get back to the edge of the forest." And so he goes, "Yeah, I believe something was going on over there." So yeah, about 15 or 20 people from Cadillac, Michigan itself that heard the story say, "Yep, there are things going on there." Now, are there any reports? I look up on like the BFRO. I looked on that. There's no reports in Cadillac, but there's a lot of reports in Wexford. And as I said, Cadillac, Michigan is in Wexford. So how many are from Cadillac? I don't know. But the locals there, I haven't been back since. Next time I go back, I'll have to ask the locals if they, you know, think that there's anything going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't plan on going back there anytime soon because I got too much else going on. And I kind of don't
Yeah.
want to go back there anyway, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah. But man, that's an awesome story, and you know, like I said, I think I caught it when you were on the boat, and right before the scream is when I picked it up. But that's an awesome story.
Yeah. Well, it is an awesome story. The end result kind of sucked,
Yeah.
but it set me off on what I do today, and
Hmm.
again, I'm over that now. You're never over a true loss, right? Especially when you don't really know how it or why it happened. That's the only thing that'll be a mystery the rest of my life, probably.
Yeah, and you don't have I guess, the closure, really.
As far as that goes. And I guess I heard her mom's dad.
Yeah.
And I never met her brother. Her brother lives in Tennessee or something. I don't know. So that's a
Yeah.
part of my life that'll never be fully closed, outside of the fact that I've moved on. And I think there's a reason for everything. And I don't believe in
Yeah.
coincidence or chance. So
Yeah.
this is why I'm doing this stuff today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And
that's right. I like that point. Spirit medium Daniel, you don't need closure because everything dies. I mean, kind of a blunt way to put it, but in a way that's true though.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. Thanks. It's people like the story. People again. I told people I'm no longer telling the story. No, Rob, you have to, because if you can help one person, which I believe I do help at least one person, people are going to hear this. Then I've done my job with what I do.
yeah.
So that's the thing behind it. And
Yeah.
every time I tell, I feel a little bit better. Again, I talk to people. It's like therapy when you have something like that. I mean, I thought, for 6 months, man, 6 months, I didn't go to work. Lucky I was my own boss. Otherwise,
Yeah,
I
no
would have been
kidding.
canned. I would have been canned, you
And
know?
lucky you trusted your manager to
Yeah.
handle the bar.
Fortunately, he had been with me for at least 6 years. Uh,
Krista says you can't stop telling your story.
Yeah, I know, Krista.
Yeah.
Well, if Krista was listening to it, then I guess it's all right. She's heard it 1,000 times.
Yeah. Well, my friend, that was coming up on an hour and a half here. That went by
Yeah,
way fast.
yeah, it did. It went down. When they're good, they always go by fast, don't they? Like me and you, our
Right.
show we did last Thursday. You gotta
Uh-huh.
check our show out last Thursday. That went by in a blink of an eye. A
It
blink of
did.
an eye.
It did. Always a good time.
You know,
And go ahead.
really quickly, I don't know. Me and Krista might do an impromptu live show tonight. We're breaking down this paranormal being at a well that a subscriber sent to me. I'm gonna wait until later though. I gotta get a hold of Krista. I gotta make sure all my friends are off the air first. It might be tonight. It might not. I gotta talk to her.
All right.
So
Well, from what I hear, there's not going to be many shows on tomorrow night if you're not watching the Super Bowl.
well, I already made the commitment to my buddy. I'd go over there and watch it in hate. I'm watching it in hate. It should be my Lions.
Yeah.
I'm over
Yeah.
that too, I suppose.
After the Rams left St. Louis, I kind of blocked off the NFL for a few years, but I think I'm back now. So
Yeah, I'm back. I mean, I love the NFL. When it comes to sports, NFL, then of course you see I got my Wolverine hat on. At least we got one championship this year.
that is true. So yeah, I hate to I hate to even say this, but my very first college football game was to none other than Ohio State. So I have been a
Uh,
Ohio State fan for quite a
oh
while. So
gosh, Jesus, whatever, dude. You always got bad
I'm
news,
just
St. Louis, jeez, Ohio State. Here, I thought we could be friends.
we, I'm an adopted Ohio State fan, so
Okay.
I appreciate
Mhm.
all college football. I'm a diehard Mizzou fan,
Yeah, no,
and
well, that's good at least.
yeah,
I don't want to bore your people here, but one quick thing: college sports, though, man, I'm so sick and tired of. Yes, I'm a fan, but you got to wait until like week 12 to get a good game because there's
yeah,
the first 8 weeks. It's like all blowout city. I don't watch. I'm not nearly the fan of college that I am of NFL. I will
mhm,
watch Michigan when they're in the playoff. I don't watch.
yeah,
As a fan, I don't even watch their other games.
and you're
Just
right. The
don't.
first five games or whatever, they're
Yeah,
all powder puff games, and
yeah, right.
to get
Mhm.
any team to 5-0, and then the conference starts,
Yeah.
and
Then
so
okay, then it's a little more interesting, and
yeah,
even that. And now I remember when I was a kid, the Big Ten was the best, the Midwest 10 college teams. Now the Big Ten is going to be what, 25 teams?
yeah, yeah,
Come on, that's
yeah,
well, they're
and
making the 12 teams in the playoff, which whatever. We'll see how that works out.
if they would have had that this year, Mizzou would have been in the playoffs. We
Oh
we
well.
missed it by just I think we were 9,
Oh
8 or
wow.
9,
Well,
but yeah,
well, that'd been cool.
that would have been neat for all of the Mizzou fans out there. That would be incredible. So,
Oh yeah, for sure.
all righty, bud.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for spending your Saturday on here
Yeah.
with us.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me
And
on.
once again, to those in the chat, thanks for coming on. Thanks for being in the chat. I appreciate you. And also, hang on. I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared. Well, I am sort of, but
You are. You just gotta find the buttons.
got to find the right one. Go get his book. It's on Amazon. Um, and there it is.
Yep.
Make sure you
Thanks for that.
subscribe to BMR as well.
Yeah.
So, okay, now I lost it. I can't get it off there.
Yeah. There you go.
There you
It takes a
go.
little bit of practice. I know.
Yeah. All right.
I used to
All
think
right.
text was really pretty weird with it, but he's getting better. You gotta find yeah. It's all the keystroke, I guess, or with your mouse. But yeah, thanks for having me on. I had a great time.
Oh, sure. Rye has one more question. Real
Yeah.
quick. What is it, Rye? What you got?
Yeah. Go ahead, Gry.
And there's his thing.
Yeah, I do. If you're still there.
Yeah. Who do you have on next Tuesday?
Danny Staten, who's in chat, South Carolina cryptids next Tuesday. Danny Staten.
Oh,
He's got
nice.
some creepy things going on in this part of town.
Yeah.
We're gonna investigate it. Me and Krista.
So
Yep.
Krista said,
He's actually in your chat room.
yeah, there he is. There he is.
Yeah, there he is, Dan.
And
Yeah, Chris,
Krista
I'll be
said,
getting with you on that. Yeah,
oh, it's above.
we'll come up with a time. It's 10:30 my time. We'll give me a little breather from this. Yeah, I'll make sure everybody's off the air. That'll be a
Okay.
good one. Me and Chris will probably do something.
Okay.
So everybody have your alert bell out at Bigfoot Mr. Rob's channel.
Yes. Oh, here it is.
BMR. So do you believe it was a Bigfoot or a demon or a mix of flesh and blood? Well, I don't really know. My answer to that is it was flesh and blood, but it was paranormal. I think they're both. They're both. They go hand in hand. I'm not in the aper camp. No, I don't think they're just a creature. I think that they have supernatural elements to them. I think they can come from a different realm or reality. So yeah, so it's a mixture. Was it an actual demon though? Man, good question. Perhaps.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with not, because if it was a demon, I'd probably. But then again, God, a guy had a theory really quickly, man, about this. Maybe was in, that this creature I saw. Listen to this story, this theory. Well, then I'll let you go.
You're good.
It is. You asked this question. It kind of popped in my head. This guy was telling me that perhaps that the Bigfoot. Listen to this, was possessed by a demon, and when it roared, yelled, and screamed, it released its sickness or its entity with that inside him into my girlfriend, causing her to die. That is, dude, that's a creepy theory.
Yeah.
But it's a theory that I've heard time and again, but that's just with human beings, not casting from an entity to a human, like that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing I have to explore now. The story does never end, does it?
Exactly.
That's why I love doing this.
Yes. Awesome.
All right.
All right. Thank you guys for your questions and comments. I appreciate you all for watching. Y'all, I sound like I'm from the South.
Yeah, I say it all the time too, y'all.
All righty, guys. Next Tuesday on this show, I'm going to have Barton Nunley from Inhumanoids on here. We'll have a chat, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that one. So it's going to be a fun one. So once again, thank you very much, Rob. I really appreciate you taking your Saturday night to spend with us.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. You guys all have a wonderful night, and I will see you on the next episode of Paranormal Among Us.